is Gigi Sabat, and you're listening to the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Chelsea Denlinger. Welcome to the show, Chelsea.
Hi, Gigi, and thank you so much for having me. I am excited to get this going.
Likewise, it's such an honor to have you here today. Chelsea is a personal fitness coach, and I've had the honor of working with Chelsea, and my experience has been absolutely phenomenal. It has been such an honor to have you as a coach, Chelsea. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about you and what inspired you to become a coach?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much, Gigi, for that warm welcome. And I'm definitely privileged to have worked together and help you on your goals and your journey. And I am a certified personal trainer. I've been doing personal training for about 11 years now. And it all started with me working in the gym. And then that kind of turned into a couple years. And then the COVID pandemic happened. And when that happened, I was like, okay, I might need to pivot. Let me look at some remote personal training. So I came across a company called Kickoff, and that is where I currently do my personal training. So that was kind of my fitness side. And then alongside that, I do certified health coaching, and I've been a nationally board certified health coach for about 8 years now. And I do that through Noom, which is a health digital company. And there, I've done about 6 years where I've coached people to achieve their healthy weight and their desirable goals. And then another 2 years where I actually help people in a diabetes prevention program because I became a diabetes prevention lifestyle coach. So I help them prevent diabetes. So that's a little bit of background about me and my personal training and my health coaching.
I love it. Now, tell us a little bit more about one of your coaches who also inspired you to become a coach.
Okay. So there's been a lot of people in my life who I could appreciate and thank, and especially during my sporting career as a runner, I feel like I have had a lot of influence that's been positive on my career as a fitness coach and also a health coach. And one of them is my high school coach, Brenda Buffington. And Brenda Buffington is such an inspiration for me, always gave such motivational words, made me believe in myself when I had doubt, and gave me the gumption to try and strive and push myself, to stretch myself, to achieve things that I didn't think I was capable of achieving. And that's one person that actually got me to become a health and fitness expert on my journey.
I love it. Now, what if an individual wants to hire a fitness coach, but they have a fear and they're afraid to get out of their comfort zone? What message do you have for that particular individual?
Oh, that's a good one. So if you are fearful of getting active, getting started, I would say embrace that discomfort, go with it, because that's probably going to be where you grow the most as an individual. And if you want to get uncomfortable, why not start getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Then we could really push ourselves to go those next limits to achieve what we were fearful of and to do things that we thought maybe we're not capable of. And we just show ourselves that we can actually do this. So I would say lean into the discomfort.
I love it. Lean into the discomfort. Very powerful statement. Now, Chelsea, tell us a little bit more about your own fitness journey. And did you experience any challenges along the way? And tell us a little bit more about it.
Okay. So my fitness journey started right from early childhood. My parents, I remember, signed me up to be in a rec center. And at rec center, you have everything. I did volleyball, taekwondo, yoga, anything that could get my energy out. My parents were like, do it. So that's where I started. And then from there, I went into middle school eventually. And my friend was on the cross country team. She was like, you should do cross country. Like, you will enjoy it. We can hang out together all the time. So I was like, I'll try it. And I liked it. So I became a runner. That marked kind of the start of 10 years where I did competitive running in both cross country and track. And in track, I did mostly like middle distance races. So the 1500 and the 800 meters, which is half a mile, was primarily my distance that I like to run the most. So I did that for my fitness. And then in college, I was still running. I was on a team. And then I also studied psychology because I was like, psychology is really important. I need to understand my mind, why I behave certain ways, how I can master my mindset, because then I can do pretty much anything I really want if I put my ability and mind to it. So that's kind of how I approached it. And this really helped me when I had setbacks because I had lots of foot injuries, stress fractures, plantar fasciitis, tendonitis, lots of foot injuries. And I was always like running in pain. And that's not a good feeling, right? So for me, I really had to just put in the work. I had to put in the time to rehab myself. I had to put the time to stay in shape in other ways, like cross training when I couldn't run. And that helped me bounce back from challenges and overcome and persevere.
Wow. And you're doing just that. I love it.
Yeah.
And speaking of injuries, you met me where I was with my knee injury. And now to be running a marathon, I mean, a 5K, a 10K, half marathon, and now a full marathon. Thank you to you. I mean, injuries per se, you did not set any limits. And so you have this, I love your vision and embracing discomfort. It's a very powerful, very powerful. So what message do you have for an individual who may want to start their first marathon?
That's a great one. Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, a really good first step is to think about why you want to run that marathon. It could be anything. Why do you want to run that race in particular for you? And once you have that why and your big goal, that's going to help you overcome times when it's really challenging, when it's really tough, when you want to give up or you want to slide back. So you need to stay connected to your goals and your motivations. That's the first step. And then I would say the next big step is certain time. Are you just trying to finish a race? Are you going running without any walks? What is that? Get specific, find the right plan for you. And then once you have the big goal, the motivations, and the how, I think you're in a really good place to have the majority of your running taken care of. Just show up and do it.
Just show up. I love it. Very powerful statement. Now, Chelsea, earlier you mentioned having an injury in regards to fitness. Now, and overcoming that injury, tell us a little bit more about some of the personal life challenges that you've had.
Yeah, I would say some of my challenges have definitely been with the running because I spent so many years doing this. And one of those challenges when you get injured is that you take a lot of time off. So I would say I probably had to take like 6 to 8 weeks off, which is almost like the majority of a running season. And when you do that, one, you have to find other ways to stay active because I was a varsity athlete. So my team was counting on me to come back and be ready for districts and regionals. So I really had to put in all that effort. And it was so tough because I was away from my team a lot of the time. So not having that connection, not having that support, not being able to bond, and cross country track are such team sports, even though it's like individual races, it's really a team thing. And that's why I stayed with it. So those are challenges I had to overcome. I had to find other ways to connect with people and to overcome my injuries.
I love it. Now, speaking of being an athlete and now facing an injury,
Yeah.
oftentimes we see in our society, folks may have what is called depression. What message do you have for an individual who's listening to this message today, who is an athlete or a former athlete who's faced an injury and they feel depressed? What message do you have for that individual?
That's a great question. So, if something happens and you have a setback and you're feeling sad, depressed, one really good thing to do is to flip the script and focus on the things that are going right in your life now. Because if you look around you, chances are there are good things. So, find those, focus on those, prioritize those every day, highlight them, and also get yourself a really good support system, the friends, the family. If you don't have those, join a community, join some type of fitness group or community where you could get together and support one another, because that's going to carry you far and uplift you and have someone in your corner by your side. You could even get a personal trainer.
Absolutely. Agreed. Now, we spoke a lot today about the physical aspect and activities. Now, how important is the nutrition component?
Yes. So I would say people always ask me, which one should I focus on, the fitness or the nutrition? If I could tell you, it would be both. I would do a little bit of each. And that's because you're going to get a better and bigger benefit from that. And research supports this. When you do both together, you can make further progress on what you're working on, and you can also support and complement one another. So if I am just doing a whole bunch of exercise and I don't have my nutrition up par, the things that I could do and achieve are going to be very limiting compared to what the heights I really could reach if I had nutrition backing me. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be a strict diet. Look at your nutrition, focus on the small changes that you can make, and look at it from a back view perspective. Like, okay, is this balanced looking? Do I have my whole grains, my fruits, my veggies, my protein? And you could get a tracking device where you do something like MyFitnessPal and you just do it for a week or two, see what things look like in your nutrition so that you can make this work best for you instead of against you.
Very true. Now, you mentioned MyFitnessPal. What if an individual is not aware of how to start or how to track? What message do you have for that individual?
Yeah. So if you're not aware, that just tells me that you need to figure out how to do it. So one thing you could do is just look at some videos online to introduce you to something like MyFitnessPal tracking. That way you could get started using it. And sometimes it's a learning curve, I would say, on a lot of these occasions, but it's not going to be a big learning curve. It might just take a day or two. And there's a community on MyFitnessPal that you can ask as well. And if you don't want to do tracking where you're entering something, another option a lot of my clients like to do is take pictures of their food. So when you take pictures of your food, you can see the actual portions of what you're eating. You can see how full your plate is, or whether is there empty space on your plate. And you can also see the colors that you're eating to make sure it's well balanced nutritionally.
Excellent. Very powerful. I can't forget the greens that you told me about. The greens.
Don't forget those yummy greens.
Don't forget the yummy greens. I love it. Now, Chelsea, tell us a little bit more about how important is it as a coach to meet people where they are?
That's an excellent question. That is the essence of coaching. Meeting people where they are. Are they someone who is just kind of contemplating the options? They're considering that they might start, they might not start. That's okay. I will meet you where you are. Then there's other people who are ready. They're like, I already know I want to do this. I'm ready to take action. Let's go. You know what? I'm going to meet you where you are and we're going to get a plan and put it together. And then there's people that are just kind of maintaining. They're like, I've done everything. I put in the hard work. I just kind of want to coast and keep what I have. That's fine too. I'm going to meet you where you are, and we're going to put up a plan that has you maintaining the healthy habits that you already worked so hard to establish. And if someone is having a relapse, a setback, you know what? We're going to work through that together. We're going to come up with strategies to get you back on track and then keep going.
I love it. Now, Chelsea, what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership means being someone who is speaking your own truth, being authentic to yourself, and inspiring others and treating people the way you want to be treated. It's someone who is putting a foot forward and another foot forward, and they're not afraid to take the risks, to take the leaps in the greater good of the people that they want to be leading.
Very powerful. And now earlier we spoke a lot about overcoming the challenges that you face. Let's talk a little bit more about mindset. How important is it to have a positive mindset? Tell us a little bit more about the mindset.
Yes, mindset is everything. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story real quick. I studied psychology in college, not because I thought this is a great choice to get a job, but because I was like, I know if I want to be happy in life, if I want to be healthy, if I want to be successful, I've got to master my mind. It's everything. And if you can master your mind, you can master your behaviors, you can master your habits. And that is how you could get from point A to point B. And you could do this. If you don't have a strong mind, you're going to have a lot more challenges making something stick, making something consistent. But if you can master the skills of mindset, perseverance, determination, grit, and hustle and discipline, that's going to get you to where you want to go.
Bullseye. Very powerful.
Bullseye.
Yes, ma'am. Now, it was a very powerful statement. Now, Chelsea, what gives you the most joy?
Lots of things bring me joy.
Tell us more about it.
Sure. So I would say things that really bring me joy are things that I'm passionate about. And I have a lot of passions, and the health and fitness is a huge part of that. If I could do something where I am both active myself, educating myself on the latest science and strategies of health and fitness, and also educating and inspiring and leading within the space, that to me is where I get the most joy. It's something I do every day. It's part of my work, it's part of my life. I live my passions.
Excellent. Now, Chelsea, what if someone feels stuck on their fitness journey that they are currently on?
If you're stuck on your fitness journey, this is when I would probably go back to the reasons why you're doing this, the big goal that you have. I would stay focused. I would get my support system. And it's okay to reevaluate your goals. So maybe what you had earlier is not what you need now. Maybe you need to change your expectations. Maybe you need to take a different approach, be a little bit more flexible in your goals. When you do that, you give yourself a chance to be successful in the ways you want to be successful. Otherwise, you could be going back and forth the merry-go-round. And instead, we're trying to go forward in a direction that you choose.
Very true. Now, what message do you have for the individual who often works, or an entrepreneur, business owner, who feels as though they do not have time to work out, but they want to?
Okay. I think a lot of us can relate to this. Gigi, I know you're pretty busy as well. So you got some experience with this.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
yeah, if you want to work out and you're crunched for time, the biggest thing I could tell you is to get in the habit of showing up for yourself. And by that, I mean, get in the habit of mastering starting. I don't care what you do necessarily in the beginning. I just want you to get used to starting, doing something. It could be very small to begin. The smallest thing I would even say is sometimes people are so crunched for time, we do a 1 minute fitness. And this is when you do 1 minute of like squats or 1 minute of jumping jacks. And you do that one time in the day, or maybe you can spread it across the day. And that's going to get you used to being active, used to starting. And then when you get that going, momentum comes. And when momentum comes, that can help with your motivation, and it can motivate you to want to do more. And when you want to do more, you find ways to make it fit in the day.
I love it. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Now, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Walking with purpose and living a life with happiness. Can the two go together? Yes. So I think if you want to live your life with purpose and happiness, this is going to go back to your authentic self. Who are you? What do you value at your core? What are your passions? Why are you here on earth doing what you're doing? What is it that motivates you every day to want to pursue ahead? And when you find those things, that is how you can find happiness, because it comes from within you. It's not going to be something external, because external things influence happiness, but that fluctuates it. So it goes up and down. But if you want that constant happiness, it's going to come from you doing the work inside and then projecting that outward.
Excellent. Now, I'd love to speak about eating disorders. Oftentimes in our societies, folks may think or believe that they have an eating disorder, or they have been diagnosed and they have found out they do have an eating disorder. Now, what message do you have for that individual who is facing a challenge or a battle with an eating disorder?
Yeah. So if you feel like you have an eating disorder or some type of eating issue, always a good place to go is with a specialist or a doctor to first get confirmed. That way you're not kind of assuming or kind of expecting yourself and putting a label on you. So first get the help and get the diagnosis if this is an eating disorder. And then if you have that, you're going to probably be working with a team of doctors, 1 or 2 doctors. They might even have you work with a nutritionist so that you feel supported in this, because you're going to be learning a new way of eating, a new way of living, and a different mindset. And that comes with some time, and it comes with practice, and you have to implement changes, and it's going to be, again, uncomfortable. So you got to get used to putting yourself in places where you're not comfortable and where you're willing to change.
Very true. Now, speaking of the NoomVibe app, I had the honor of being your guest on your show on the NoomVibe app. Tell us a little bit more about your experience educating others within that community, and also how can folks listen in and listen in to some of the episodes that you have on NoomVibe.
Okay, yeah. So I got into NoomVibe about 130 something days ago. So whatever that is in months. But I started that because I was like, I have a lot of passion, expertise, knowledge, and examples of coaching clients that I've seen. And I feel like that's something that I could share and give back, and people might resonate and they might take that and apply themselves. So that's how I got into NoomVibe. It's an app that is a social community. It brings people together where you can hear from experts on health, fitness, nutrition, mindset. And these experts have talks, and it varies how often they do them, but maybe like once a day for the whole weekday is kind of a full-time coach on that. And you get to have the privilege of interacting with that expert. So you come on stage with them, you get to talk to each other, have live conversations. Sometimes we have doctors on there, so you can ask questions to the doctors. So that's a really unique experience. And I know that's something that I really enjoy. And then it also has the ability to track your habits and the ability to track your steps, and it pays you for that. So it's not like a huge amount of money, but if you tell me I could get money for my steps and for my healthy habits, yes, please do. And you could get that money yourself in gift cards, or you could donate that to charitable causes. So that's another perk to the app that I would say. And if you want to find me on the app, I do my weekly talks Monday through Friday, and I do these at 2 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes they vary depending on if I have guests, but that's kind of my regular schedule. And you could go to my talk tab on my profile, and you will see all my past talks. And the cool thing is that they are all on demand. So you can listen to them anytime. And then if you want to join the live talk, you got to be there at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday with me.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to follow Chelsea on the NoomVibe app, and that's at Chelsea D. And Chelsea, one last thing here, one last question for you here. What if an individual has given up on their fitness goals? They have just given up. What message do you have for that particular individual?
If you've given up on your fitness goals,
Correct.
just get right back to it. Begin again. Don't let a give up mean a total give up. It's a temporary give up. I want you to rewrite your goals. I want you to tell somebody there's goals. And I want you to take one step that same day. When you say you give up, I want you to take a step that day to get right back into it. Show yourself, okay, I can do this. Because giving up is a mindset thing. Physically, you could do it. Mentally, you've got to remind yourself, hey, this is who I am. I am strong. I could do this, and I will achieve whatever I want to achieve.
I love it. Chelsea, do you have any last words for the audience?
I guess my takeaway message is just get going. And when you get going, the momentum comes, it builds. And I want you to embrace the setbacks. I want you to see them as opportunities where you could grow. And I want you to keep striving to do better and be better, because you can.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chelsea. It's been such an honor to have you as a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. And again, it's also been an honor to have you as my fitness coach. And this has been for the past 2 years, such an honor, and grateful for you and our friendship here. It's such an honor. And now, Chelsea, where can the audience find you?
Well, thank you so much, Gigi, for letting me come on this talk, getting to chat, share my story. And also, it's been a privilege to work together and train together. And for those who want to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at Coach Chelsea D, and on NoomVibe at Coach Chelsea D as well. I also have a LinkedIn account, so you can find the LinkedIn URL and then just put my name, Chelsea Denlinger, next to it. And you can find me there to stay connected, to hear my talks, engage with me, and come on a live show.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Chelsea on all of her social media platforms. And again, Chelsea, thank you again so much. It's been such an honor to have you here today. God bless you and be safe.
Yes, bless you. Thank you so much, Gigi. You have a wonderful day.
God bless.